Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Shireen Saini and welcome back to our initiative, What After Dentistry. Now, as you all know, we are a team of dentists with healthcare management background and we are here to guide you and make you aware of the various career options in dentistry and healthcare. Today, we have with us Dr. Uma Mutliar, an oral pathologist and a public health professional in the United States of America. Before we start, the formal discussion, on the public health and masters of public health in the US, we would like to know more about yourself, you and your journey. How has it been, and why did you opt for MPH?
Sure. So my journey has been quite interesting. I came across different perspectives and diverse learnings across a spectrum of areas that all culminated into my Master of Public Health degree.
So next, as a BTS graduate or as an MTS graduate, how can one pursue this field, or how can one get into an admission? If you want to pursue MPH from the US, what are the prerequisites? Are there any exams that one needs to sit for? Or what would you recommend?
So yes, to do your master's in US, there are certain prerequisites that you need to do. You have to take the standardized tests, GRE and TOEFL.
Can you please enlist some good colleges? If one wants to pursue MPH in the US, what are the top 5 or top 10 colleges that you can recommend?
Okay, so off the top of my head, the top 5 colleges would be Johns Hopkins, University of North Carolina, Columbia, Harvard, and Emory.
They are being very consistent, as you said. And what is the total cost and time that is required to pursue MPH?
So, so cost would be subjective. It differs from college to college. If a college like an Ivy League institution will be more expensive than a state school, but the total 4 semesters will cost around $80,000. And then if you have scholarship, then the amount will get reduced. And then the cost of living adds on to that, but it differs on where you live in New York.
So when you talk about scholarship, what is the on what basis can one get a scholarship? Is it the application, the entire application, or basis the GRE score that you get the scholarship?
So it's the entire application. So
that's fair enough. And can one also get a loan facility from the US, or somebody has to take it from their home country?
That's a great question because a lot of people don't know this. But if you want to take a loan, you typically would take it from India, being an Indian citizen. But then the interest rates are high.
So what should a student expect, while they're pursuing MPH in the US? How is the student life? Is it hectic? And what skills will they be, or what skills should they basically be learning and they should command on once they're out from their MPH college?
Okay. So again, a great question, but I would like to break this question into parts. So first of all, I want to start off with life in US is not like what they show in the Friends show. So we all see Friends in India and we feel that, oh my God, life in New York is excellent. They're always just eating pizza and partying and chilling. It's not like that. It's a lot of hard work.
What would you advise if someone wants to start their career in public health once completing this course in the US? Do these colleges, do they provide 100% placement?
So they don't. There is no. So the college is not going to guarantee you a job. What a college does guarantee is a job fairs. So I would suggest when you are applying to schools, and if you talk to, like I advised earlier, if you talk to career guidance counselors in the schools, be sure to ask if the school, if the college that you're applying to has a career fair. So a lot of colleges here have their own career fair. So Columbia hosts their own career fair where like 200 to 250 employers come and they interview students there itself. So that your first barrier is broken because your college is providing you that. But no college is going to guarantee you a job. So that is the most that they will do is get job fairs. So while applying, make sure if that is what you need, you can ensure that the school you're going to has a job fair or not. So that is one thing. The second thing I would suggest is, as an MPH student in India, what we typically focus on is getting good grades. It's always academic oriented, which is fair, which is good. It helps us to also get good grades here. But other than good grades, what I've experienced in my job hunt here is work experience is very important. So within the limits of your F1 student visa, if you can work for 2 semesters, depending on like your student visa, work for 2 semesters. If you can work for 2 semesters, work completely for 2 semesters, because your work experience is what is going to get you your job. Your GPA is the first is like the first barrier. You just need like a basic GPA. If you're not too poor, then you are through. But after the GPA, what really helps you is your work experience. So if you have a dream job, if you have a dream sector that you want to work in post your post getting your degree, I would suggest that from the very beginning, try to get internships and practicums related to that field. Because, or whatever, if you don't get an internship related to that field, then you can do some research work with a professor in that field, because that is what is going to help get you your final job more than your GPA or more than anything else. Work experience is very important in US.
I think that's right. And like here in India, while we are pursuing MPH, so we generally have, like, during our 2-year course, we generally go on field trips, and especially for MPH students. So do they have the same kind of curriculum over there? Do they give you the real exposure on the fields?
uh, they don't take you anywhere. I mean, different maybe different so in MPH, if you different concentrations might have different requirements. I had done my health policy and management with a so in my concentration, they didn't take us for any field trips, but you have a lot of different varieties, like lot of different subjects that you can choose to do. So I had taken up one coursework that was called consulting program. So in that, because I wanted to work in consulting, healthcare consultancy was what I wanted my final job to be in. So I had taken up that coursework. So in that, they actually gave us like a real world problem. So we actually had like a real client, and like the group, like my group, what I was selected in, that group was actually consulting with that real client, which was actually a hospital in New York. So that is sort of the field experience you get. But most colleges, and at least in Columbia, it is compulsory to do an internship. You have to do an internship. What they call here is a practicum. So that is what is your field experience. So after your first semester, you have to do a 3 to 4 month internship or practicum, and that's compulsory. You cannot graduate without that. So once you do that, that gives you sort of the real world experience or field experience that you're talking about.
Yeah, I think that is what I meant, because here also we have these field trips are in the form of summer internships or something like that,
Okay.
and
Okay.
dissertation. So yeah, this is what I wanted to. So it's almost the same kind of exposure that you get
Yeah.
while doing MPH. So now, like you mentioned, that there are various avenues or various courseworks, right, within MPH. So could you please elaborate more on this? Like, what are the multiple career paths that one can choose?
Sure. So first of all, I want to say that the best part about MPH is it's not, if you do so the different concentrations after MPH are epidemiology, health policy and management, biostatistics, and population and family health, environmental sciences. So you can select one concentration, but you can also do a certificate course in some other concentration. So it's not hard and fast. Like, as a health policy and management student myself, I took up a lot of research and data courses. So after my graduation, I could choose to work in like a hospital field or a consulting, or I had a research job opportunity as well. So depending on what you want to do, you can take up your course and your certificate accordingly. And then the job opportunities, the I would say the different um, areas that you can work are government jobs, research jobs, hospital jobs, management jobs. Consulting is a big thing. You can do a research consulting or a management consulting position. Then you can also, if you want to go into research, academic research, there are a lot of jobs available for academic research as well, and different concentrations. So if you want to, so population and family health is if you're really interested in humanitarian work, then UNICEF and all of those options really open up for you, WHO. So you can select your concentration based on what you want to work as, but it's not hard and fast. You can also switch concentrations. You can switch, or you can take, one concentration can be a major, but you can take up a certificate in a different concentration, and then that ways you can work as like a data analyst or data science, even with a health policy degree, if you take data heavy courses. Or you can be an epidemiologist, but you can be interested in management and consulting, so you can take up certificates that go with the management. You can take up certificate from the management department of the college, and then even though you're an epidemiologist, you can work as a management consultant. So it's pretty fluid depending on what certificate or concentration you take. But the opportunities are vast. Like, you can go into any field after like an MPH. It's not hard and fast. You can do like pretty much anything.
I think yes, that is there with this degree, and I think many students are, they're more interested in public health because they feel that there are a lot of avenues that open up for them when they pursue MPH. So yes, and what are the new technologies or advancements that are happening in the public health in the US that if somebody pursues MPH, they should concentrate on while they are pursuing it, so that once they are out, they know that yes, these are the latest advancements that are happening.
Okay. So, like I said earlier, one thing that I have noticed in my career and my 2 years as a student in Columbia, and afterwards even working, was that everything is data oriented now. So you can select whatever concentration you want, but something of data is necessary, or if not necessary, will take you really far ahead. So you can so the newest technologies just would be this, everything in US and actually globally now, I would say, is moving towards value based care and evidence based practices. So all of that, the research base is all like data collection, data studying, data analysis. So I would say that if you have to be prepared, that public health, masters in public health entails a lot of statistics. So you just, how much ever you hate data or math, there is going to be something of it, and I mean, there is no way around it, because that is what the future is all about. So that is the newest thing that is happening in healthcare. Everything is moving towards evidence based techniques, and data is playing a big, huge role in this field.
I think that's absolutely correct, because without data also, even if we talk about the current pandemic, if we don't have data for each and everything of what is going around in the pandemic, we will not be able to, generate the new policies or new regulations or any kind of new measures for even this to handle this pandemic. So yes, data analysis is something that the entire healthcare industry, is moving towards. And I think as a dental student, somebody who wants to pursue MPH, this is very, very important that from the very beginning you concentrate on acquiring these skills which revolve around the data, either just learning SQL or any kind of language, or maybe any kind of tool like Excel or SPSS, anything which revolves around data. So yes, I think that's one latest technology that we see is happening across, and not just in US, but I think that's happening. This is happening globally.
Globally. Yeah.
Yeah. So, your last thoughts on the scope and opportunities. I know you've already, mentioned so many scope, so much of scope and all the opportunities that are there. But still, your last thoughts on, if somebody wants to pursue, and also, what do you think is there might be some pros and cons of pursuing MPH. So, please enlighten us on that also.
Absolutely. So the pros are that it provides a great springboard to your career. You can jumpstart your career and go into any field of your choice. It can be health tech is the new thing that's going. It's happening everywhere. So public health with your combined with your dental program is like a great way to get into health tech. So there are a lot of pros. You can do pretty much, like I said, anything with your degree. So any area you want to venture into, anything, it's pretty much available to you here. There are a few cons as well, and not to discourage any students, but at least when I passed out, the immigration environment was very difficult here. So a lot of jobs are not open to international students. So a lot of jobs are, they already specify in their requirement that they are not looking to do any kind of sponsorship for the student, and they require somebody who can work in the US without any visa restrictions. So I would say that that was the only hurdle to getting a job here, for, and that's pretty much for everyone, because MPH is very competitive. And now with the pandemic, everyone wants to get into public health, because they have understood that public health infrastructure is necessary everywhere. And the other thing is, because there are a lot of Americans also pursuing public health, and the international students are not as much as the Americans, sponsorships are difficult to come by. So I would suggest that it's I mean, in Colombia, at least I know almost all of the international students have all secured a job, and might not have secured their dream jobs, but everyone has a job. So what I would say is that from the beginning, you have to be aware of your hurdles, that is the immigration and visa. So look at jobs, filter down jobs, only those that are willing to take up international candidates or willing to sponsor. Don't waste your time in looking at other jobs, because then that only gives you a limited time to work in US. So from the beginning, focus all your energies on jobs that are willing to do your sponsorship, and then Another tip would be, when you know that these are the 10 companies that I want to work for, you can always model your application and resume based on their requirements. So from the beginning, like from your first internship onwards, if you know that is your dream job and you have 3 semesters to get your dream job, then take the courses that they probably specify that they require their employees to have certain skills. Look at courses that will give you those skills. And so that is one tip to get a good job. And I would say also another big hurdle is a STEM or a non-STEM program, because a STEM program will give you 3 years on your student visa to work in US, while a non-STEM will just give you one. So you have 1 year to then look for a job that will give you your sponsorship. So I think that shouldn't be the deciding factor in what course you want to do, but you have to be cognizant of the fact that it's not as easy as it is for the local American students here. So that is the only con that I can think about, is immigration and jobs that provide you with sponsorship. But again, I would like to say, I don't want to discourage any students, because if you if you aim to have a career in public health, I would suggest to try for the top 5 or top 10 universities, or even the top 10 universities or top 20 universities, because almost every international student that my peers or my juniors or my seniors in Columbia, almost 98 to 99% of them secured a job and are very happy in their careers. So immigration is a hurdle, but it is no way like it's not a barrier. You can overcome it easily.
That's correct. And you mentioned about something about STEMS program, right?
Yeah.
What is that? I mean, could you just mention?
So yeah, so certain courses in US come under the umbrella of STEM, that is science, technology, engineering, and math. And then there is non-STEM. So when you are under a STEM program, on your F1 visa, you get 3 years to work in the US. You get three. It's I don't. I might be wrong, but it's either CPT or OPT. I'm not too sure. But you get one of those visas, and you get 3 years to work in the US on your F1 visa. So what that also gives you is 3 attempts at your H1B lottery. If you want to get a H1B lottery, H1B is the visa you need to work a long term in US. So if you are in a STEM course, it will give you 3 attempts at the H1B lottery, or just 3 years to secure a job so that they can do your sponsorship to work in the US in the long term. As opposed to a non-STEM course, that will only give you 1 year. So after after you graduate, say you graduated in May, so from May 2021 to May 2022 is the only time you can be in US and work. So within that 1 year period, you need to find a job, you need to apply for H1B lottery, you need to get sponsorship. So again, I know a lot of my friends and colleagues who went into non-STEM programs and are successfully working now. But I just wanted to highlight this because not a lot of students are aware about that, and that is just an additional hurdle. So if so, that can be another question you ask your career offices in the colleges. That is, this particular program that I'm interested in, does it come under STEM or non-STEM?
I think that's so. This is one advice. One good advice that even I wasn't aware of the STEM program thing that you mentioned. So if you are applying for any of the top 10 or top 20 or top 5 universities, when you ask your career office or the admission office there in that particular college, make sure that you ask all these questions that Dr. Uma has mentioned it very nicely, and she's elaborated very correctly in her during this session. So make sure that you take these notes down. While you're pursuing or while you're applying, you make sure that you ask these questions, because this will help you basically to make your application more stronger and basically decide on your career plan ahead. So lastly, I had one question, which is like, suppose you don't get a job while pursuing MPH from US, you don't get a job. And is this MPH degree valid in India if somebody wants to, come back to India and start practicing in as a public health expert? So is that valid? And globally also? Other countries?
Yeah, so that is one thing that is different than dentistry. The barriers of entry are not high. So if you get a MPH or master's program from US, that too from a reputed university like the top 10 university, then worldwide opportunities are open to you. So basically, even like as a student, we had a few companies who came to Columbia's job fair, and they had they branched out in India, Europe, China, and various other continents, and you can get a job there. So even so, that can be another pointer for students who do the non-STEM degree, who have just 1 year. Then you can look at companies who have global branches. So if in the 1 year you don't get your visa in US, within the company you can transfer to other countries like Europe, where the visa situation is easier than US, or you can branch out to the company's office in Canada. So it makes it is easier to get into like an MNC which has branches worldwide, and then you can, yeah, you can do anything. The barriers of, and if you are from, like, I know a lot of people who went to Harvard or Columbia, then you have opportunities everywhere. You can go to Dubai, you can go to UAE, you can go anywhere where you want to.
So, as I think this is, a take-home message for all of you. Don't get disheartened if you don't get job in the US, because that might be your dream job. But then the world is with you. You can switch to any place you want to, and if you come back to India also, you want to practice here also, MPH has a good scope. So if you want to practice back in India, that's also valid. So you don't have to sit for any other extra examination or something, and you can right away start working with an MPH degree from the US, good, or the top 10 or top 5 universities. So thank you so much, Dr. Uma, for enlightening us on the scope and opportunities in the field of public health. If somebody pursues MPH from the US, I think this has been a very, very informative session on MPH. And thank you so very much for coming on our platform and sharing all the real time and on the ground, at the ground level information, which generally we don't get it while we are reading through the net. It is only when we talk to the industry expert who's done this, who's achieved it, and that person only can help you out with giving you the information. So thank you very much once again, and it was really a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shireen. I had a great time talking here as well, and what you're doing is really important. I wish I had come across a platform like yours when I was applying for public health. That would be really helpful to me too. Then, so you're doing a
Yes,
good job.
absolutely. I mean, while doing this platform only, we came to know so much is there, and which sometimes we are also not aware of. And while conducting these sessions, we come to know. So thank you very much for appreciating, because this is something which is very encouragement. This is the only source of encouragement and motivation for us, and for all the audience. Thank you very much for patiently listening to our session. I hope you like the session. Please like and share this session, in your network, because this might help out if somebody is looking for pursuing MPH from the US after BDS or MBS. And of course, don't forget to subscribe. It's absolutely free. So please subscribe. Zarur kar dena. I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye and good luck.